Kit Kats can read. Hello guys, it's Katie. Welcome to another video, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you all the books that I read during the month of April. April's reading month went so much better for me. In total I read 6 books, although one of them was a graphic novel, but obviously it still counts as reading. So in order of the books that I read, the first book that I read and completed in the month of April was Love Life in the List by Kasie West. I really enjoyed this book. So this is about a girl called Abby, and she's in love with her best friend called Cooper, and she wants to be on this sort of like art program. So her tutor basically says that your work isn't really mature enough, doesn't really have enough emotion in it. So she creates this list of things to do to be able to help her feel these emotions. So it could be like, you know, falling in love, having your heart broken, and sort of like helping a stranger, like little things like that. And so in a way this is kind of a little bit like a road trip, and yeah, it was I really enjoyed it. And I ended up giving it 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. I did get a bit annoyed with the character of Connor at one point in this book, and I feel like a lot of people did. I don't know, I feel like he was written that way though. But yeah, just when Connor and Abby are together, you can really understand why they are best friends, and just all the geekiness that comes across. So yeah, if you're really into your art, I feel like you would like this book. And yeah, again, Kasie West has been pretty good with their contemporaries. This is probably actually one of my least favourite of hers. I've read some by her that I've actually really enjoyed. Obviously I still give it 5 out of 5 stars, still enjoyed it because I just still enjoy her books. But yeah, it's not actually like my favourite 5-star read of hers. So yeah, but it's still really good up there, and I'm still glad that I read it. Yeah, definitely recommend it. And then we have Meets Me at Midnight by Jessica Pennington, which was the ebook that I had for review that I read. And this is about a girl and a guy who have been enemies for quite a few years, and ever since they have sort of like done this little pact where they do pranks on each other. So it's almost like the biggest prank, and then until one of them does an unspeakable prank which causes a lot of shit basically, and then they have to live with each other in this big old summer camp lodge, and they have to like share it together. So obviously tensions run high, feelings are like woo. Yeah, it's very intense. I really enjoyed it. It was a really good book, and yeah, totally recommend it. And for people to read, it's a really good contemporary. I think it's going to be really good for the summer, especially because it's like based on a like summer lake house sort of thing. It sort of definitely has that summer vibe with it. And yeah, enemies to lovers, romance. It's really good, really good. And yeah, the tension's done really well. Really enjoyed it. 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. And then I completed the 4th book that's in the Making Out series by Catherine Applegate. This is Ben's in Love. This story revolves around the character of Ben, and he had a relationship end with his ex-girlfriend Claire, and then he's kind of starting a new relationship with Claire's younger sister Nina. So this is just about him and sort of like moving on. Obviously there's little mini stories that go on this as well, like with the other characters of Zoe and Jake, and also Aisha and Christopher. So they've got like their own little mini stories. That's what I like about these books. There's a main storyline, but there's also mini storylines about the other characters too. It's a very old series. It was done in like the 90s. However, you know, it's not really, it doesn't really feel that old, if that makes sense. Like, but they're very easygoing reads. I really enjoyed them, and yeah, I loved it. 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. And then I took a little break, and I was like, I'm gonna read a graphic novel. So I reread Saga, volume number 1 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. And the last time I read this was quite a few years ago, and I didn't own it, but now I own it because one of my good friends was selling the first 5 books, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna purchase these and give it a read. Now, I think the art style is fucking awesome. I think it's beautiful. I think it's awesome, and yeah, really enjoy it, and it's just colourful and it's just vibrant. It's got a very sort of like strong storyline, I'd like to say. There's like sex, there's gore, there's blood, there's murder, and it's very random at times, but you know what, I actually really enjoyed it the second time around more than I did the first time. I think the first time I actually even gave it 2 stars. I didn't understand it, and then this time I loved it. I loved the storyline, I loved following them. It just goes to show that a few years on I've somehow maybe matured a little, and that I found that I've enjoyed it. So yeah, our reading styles just change all the time, and I thought this was really good and really amusing. So yeah, really enjoyed this so much more the second time around, and what a difference from 2 stars to 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. Totally worth the read. Then I read Pretty Funny by Rebecca Elliott. This I had for review for March. It came out in March, but I read it in April. So this is about a girl called Hayla who really wants to be a female comedian, and she is plus size, and she sees this guy at school sort of do this like comedy act, and she's like, oh, that's so good, and she totally just like head over heels falls in love with this guy. And so she overhears that he's having trouble with creating content for his act that's going to be at a pub. So she slips some jokes into his locker when she thinks he's not looking, and he sort of laughs at the jokes and he sort of makes them his own, but sort of like using the same joke. She sees him act the jokes and she's like, oh my god, people are laughing at my joke. So she sort of comes to help this guy. But this is a book that really is just about discovering yourself, being confident in yourself, and believing in yourself. It's really heavy on friendship and family, and yeah, just being happy and accepting yourself and having that confidence, like, I'm good and I'm gonna do this. I really liked that about this book. I really enjoyed it, and it's so funny. So funny. My favourite character was Noah, who is Hayley's younger brother. He's about 4 years old, but he just creates these jokes that aren't even funny, but because he is so cute, you have to laugh. It's so adorable, and it's just so worth it. And of course I gave it 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. It's totally worth the read. Just, it's so funny. It's got the same sort of humour really as like the Louise Venison books, the Angus Thongs and Full Frontal Snogging, or there's the Geek Girl series by Holly Smell that has the same hilarity, or there's Secrets of a Teenage Heiress by Katie Birchall. That's sort of similar hilariousness in books. So yeah, totally recommend that. And the last book that I read in April was Wither by Lauren D. Stefano, and this is the first book that's in the Chemical Garden trilogy. I hauled this in my first ever book haul. I remember getting it very cheap, so I have owned this for over 6 years, and I finally got around to reading it, and even now I'm just like, why did it take me so long? Because I actually really enjoyed this book. So this is a dystopian world where there's a genetic condition, because humans have tried to sort of like alter and correct the genetics of people to make them, I suppose, perfect. However, the offspring now have a shortened lifespan. Females live until 20, males live until 25. So we have a sort of dystopian world where we have these men who purchase some girls to be wives, and so we have this main guy who purchases 3 wives, and Ryan, our main character, is one of them. So she's taken away to this mansion, she has to live there, and it's just about her like discovering and living in this world of like being a wife and like trying to escape, trying to find out the secrets that are hidden within, and maybe even discovering like why things are the way they are and things like that, and developing friendships even with like the other wives or you know, the other servants, and maybe even the man himself who is married to the wives. So yeah, it's a really, really good first book that's in a trilogy. I have got the other 2 books now, so I look forward to continuing on with it, seeing where it goes next. Yeah, definitely really enjoyed it and totally recommend it. I think if you haven't read it, or if it's a book that you've had in yourselves like myself for years, definitely pick it up and give it a read, because yeah, it's worth it. And I gave it 5 out of 5 at Kit Kats. So there you have it, guys. Those were the several books that I read during the month of April. I feel really, really proud of myself that I managed to get that amount of reading done, all things considered. If I have done a review on the books mentioned, they will be linked down below in the description, so you can check out my full review of my full thoughts on the book. But yeah, I had a really good reading month, and I gave them all 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. I had a really good reading month. I enjoyed every single one of them. And it's good actually, because I had a mixture, because I had a couple of contemporaries, I had a couple of rereads and a couple of reviews, and a book that I'd had on my shelf for years, so I feel really good that I've managed to get all of those read. So yeah, a very, very successful month. Although not all books were really on my TBR, I still managed to, you know, do some reading. I read what I wanted to read basically. So I didn't really participate in the magical readathon, unfortunately. I didn't really read any of the books that went towards any of the challenges, apart from the fact that I changed Time Between Us to Wither at the very, very last minute, as I think it was that I was going to change it to the most ancient book on my TBR. So I actually only read 1 book for the magical readathon. I didn't read my unwrapped book, I didn't read my 2020 TBR, and I didn't get to read my 2019 recommendation. But you know, it happens. Sometimes we just want to read what we want to read. And although I didn't really stick to my TBR, I still did some reading. I read all sorts. So I'm not angry with myself. Like I say, I'm just reading what I'm reading. Sometimes I do wonder, like, why do I do a TBR? I do try to stick to it, but most of the time I just read what I want to read. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, I fancy reading this bit right now. And then I just stray away from my TBR, but I only do that just so I don't end up in a reading slump. And I find that it works. So that's it for my wrap up. Those are the books that I've read. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Let me know how you guys did in the month of April, how many books you read, what books you read. Let me know what books you've purchased and what you're planning on reading for the month of May. Thank you very much for watching my video as always. All of my social media links are linked down below if you would like to follow me elsewhere. But that's it from me. Keep smiling, keep reading, and be happy. My name is Katie, and I'll see all of you wonderful, awesome people in my next video. Bye!